Sowore. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another special session with a special Nigerian, somebody we all know very well. I'm talking of Omoyele Sowore, the former presidential candidate in the last elections. He's somebody who went into the race despite all the challenges put before him, and I mean, he gave a good account of himself. Of course, he's joining us this afternoon to talk about life and what to him over the last few months. So we're being joined by my brother, my friend, Omoyele Sowore. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me, Chief. How are you today?
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yes. So yes,
How are you?
it's good afternoon to everyone. Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm here in Abuja.
Okay.
And,
what have you been doing in the last 3 months? What have you been up to in the last 3-4 months? The lockdown.
I have been in a second brand of lockdown. Before last 4 months, I was locked down at the DSS headquarters in Abuja. So, and after that, when I was released, finally, the judge put me in another lockdown to stay in Abuja until such a time that we can discharge the bail conditions, the onerous bail conditions imposed upon me for fighting for my rights. So, and then the pandemic came, or do you want to call it the scamdemic, came, and we have been here since then, dealing with all kinds of issues, yes.
So how do you cope with all of these challenges? What do you make of all these challenges before you?
I see them as part of what goes on with the territory of our work. You worked in a pretty hard place before now. I think you worked with one of Nigeria's most difficult magazines in the past.
Yes. Yes.
And you know what it means for you to be seen as an enemy of the state because you are in the business of telling the truth. So my own situation, not compounded, but speaks to all of it together. You know, I've been a publisher of a newspaper or an online web news that's very critical of government, that exposes corruption and puts all these people on their toes and put their feet to fire. And then I decided to challenge them in 2018, bring a new brand of politics into the Nigerian political context. Campaigned across the country, spoke my mind, and really connected with people. And they weren't happy about that at all. So they threw all kinds of challenges at me, curveballs, got me arrested, detained, abducted me in court, tortured, tried to dehumanize me, and tried to break my spirit. But like I said, all these things come with the territory of the work we do as activists, as writers, as public conscience. So, and revolutionaries who want to see a different country that is different from what we have now. So, and I'm very clear, I would never accept anything less than what we have now, no matter what it takes. This country could be a fantastic country. We could be living in a country that's one of the best in the world, if not the world, best in Africa. We should be one of the 6 best countries in the world, going by the kind of revenue we've made in the last 60 years. Because we are the top 6 oil-producing countries in the world. But our situation has spoken to a different kind of condition, which is pathetic. And people like me have been doing this for a long time. As you know, as a student activist, pro-democracy activist, human rights activists, environmental activists, we had to do pretty much everything so that we can have a country that we can call our own. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. But we will get there, whether they like it or not, because the current conditions, the current situation of our country is not sustainable. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the amount of force, intimidation, harassment, detention they put into it. Someday the Nigerian people will be tired of the burden of irresponsible and irresponsive, incompetent leadership, and they will throw it off their backs.
So you think the Nigerian problem is squarely leadership in nature?
Oh, absolutely. I happened to be very close to, or was close to Chinua Achebe before he passed through his family, and I listened to him speak about Nigeria's problem. Just because those ones even have a different kind of experience, better experience than we did. They went through a civil war, They were in Nigeria, they left Nigeria, came back, and they came to the conclusion, having tasted both wars, that leadership makes a lot of difference in whatever you think about. And it's just, if you don't have leaders, you don't have a country. That's as simple as that. And there's a difference between what you call a country, which is literary, and there's what they call a nation, which is substance. Well, we have a country because we are listed on the names of countries in the world, but we don't have a nation, which is a place where people can be served their real dignity as human beings. And this is as a result of the kind of leaders we've had successively in the country known and named Nigeria.
So that's really deep for me. We have a country but no nation.
Yes.
And
then, nations are deeper than countries. Countries are just geographical expressions. Nations are spaces of culture, integrity, dignity, and respect. A place where you can have happiness. A place where you have conditions that are suitable for human living. That's why they call them nation states. But a country, if you look at the meaning of a country, is just a designated place with a boundary. So Nigeria, unfortunately, did not become a nation because it was designed as a business by the British. And we never transcended what the British did to us to transcend into a nation. A lot of countries that were created by the British became a nation because at the point their people came together and redesigned, their own ideas of what a nation should be and how they want to live. But in our own case, the moment they were done with creating Nigeria as a country, they handed us over to some of the most terrible managers. Because Nigeria was designed by a guy named Goldie, who went to the Niger Delta region and was doing palm oil business. They were selling produce. And when they got there, found out that in the place known as Akasa today, that people were already doing the business. They killed all the people there, including King Jaja of Opobo, who was captured and exiled, because they saw Nigeria as a country. In fact, Lord Lugard, who created Nigeria, had been a mercenary who was in a place called Buganda, now known as Uganda and Kenya and Tanzania, part of Tanzania. And they brought him from there. And when he was coming, met a journalist who is known as Flora, who named the nation of Nigeria, Niger area. Some people have said it's Niger area, but it was named after River Niger. So everything else that happened after that was a history that we have no idea about. Even the person who they claim discovered River Niger never made it to the end of the River Niger. So everything is a lie about the story told here. It's what is that. So everything was wrong at the beginning and from the beginning. But part of the reason I don't keep saying that, because we were created by the British, we can. There are a lot of countries that were also created by the British or inhabited by the British who have gone past that. We can't keep giving the excuses that because the British created Nigeria. The British created India too, right? Pakistan used to be part of India, and I think Bangladesh. But at the point when they saw they couldn't get together, some of them separated, but India is still functioning. Even America was initially occupied by the Brits, the USA, until they dropped them out and created their own country. Created their own nation. At that point, it was a country. But even the Americans met, they met a nation there. They dismantled it, the American Indians. and created their own nation from it. And when you create a nation, you have set of laws, you have the ideas and ideals, and then, but most importantly, you put leaders that sustains the dreams, aspirations of that new nation. And those are the things. When you talk about America today, talk about their founding fathers. Nigeria, when we talk about our founding fathers, it seems like a joke. You're wondering, who founded this rubbish? How do we end up with a country like this and we're talking about founding fathers? And I'm not in any way denigrating people who went to negotiate for independence for us. But this doesn't look like a country that was well-funded. If it was well-funded, it was founded on a very terrible foundation. And it has to do with the poor men and the supervisors who built the nation and the architects. That's why you can blame the British.
The period of your incarceration, what went through your mind all through that period that you were detained?
Nothing. Because I had been incarcerated before several times, but not as long as this. I was a student activist, as you know. So we were like the rest of our senior colleagues, like Gani Fawemi, Femi Falana, Agbakova, Segun Mayegun. We're all part of that period in the 1990s, especially during June 12th. So we've been to jail before, police detention here and there, DSS, but nothing as long as. So when I was there, I was practically in solitary detention for most of the time. It's tough. Even psychologists will say that it's only allowed for the period allowed for someone to be in solitary detention and be normal is 24 hours. So, but I spent some 3 to 4 months. Then Bakari Olawale was made to join me towards the end of detention in my detention area. So it was, in that regard, the idea was to make sure that I don't have access to information. They break me and they make me feel miserable. But you see, if you find yourself in detention, you have to decide not to jail yourself. If you are not jailing yourself, then you're fine. But if you agreed to jail yourself and they're jailing you, it makes it very tough to survive.
How do you mean? What's the difference?
The difference is mental composure. It's how you feel mentally, how you respond to your condition. The other side of it is that you are afraid, you are panicky, and they watch you. When you are in detention, they watch you. They watch what you are reacting to. They watch how you sleep, how you wake up. They know all of that so that they can know how to apply pressure points on you. And physically, for people like us who are, who are internet buffs, whose life depends on the digital technology, who depend on digital technology, they know it's harder for someone to be detained these days without access to news, a cell phone, an internet, and then no television, no radio in 2020 for doing nothing. So there are times that I will feel like my phone is ringing and I'll look for it, only to find out that I'm in detention and my phones have been taken away, because this is how I've lived my life maybe in the last 20 years or so. So that part is tough. They understand that. And they use whatever they can, they maximize the pressure points to see how fast they can break you or ensure that you don't talk to your family. I was only allowed to talk to my wife maybe 3 times in 5 months. And they are monitoring every conversation you have, so that they can pick up whatever they can to use against you. And then on top of that, they go looking into your accounts, breaking into your phones, to see what they can find that they can use against you, because that's the deal. The deal is they knew that I didn't commit any crime, none. But the deal is to see what they can use to give the public a different impression about my person, my personality, because I've been such a difficult person for them. They were telling me, how is it that you're in this country and you are not approachable? You don't come to us, we can't reach you, we can't bribe you, you can't talk to you. They don't like that because they are used to people who are malleable. They are used to people who they can manipulate, who they can oppress and harass. To find out you are one person who doesn't have all of that. And most importantly, to find out that they thought you are corrupt, and they could use that against you. Look at your account. They found 850 naira left in my account, my local Nigerian account, and that was disappointing to them. And they went to Sahara reporters, discovered that they had to charge me for money laundering for transferring money to myself, according to them. so it was such a, and then they had to withdraw the charges when we got to court. So they wanted, what they were doing as they were detaining me was to find something they can present to the public, so that the public support that we were getting could wane. And they did it through the media. They had a lot of analysts out there. They paid them off to be analyzing against me. All the money shows they had people. They even have at the DSS a phone bank where they call into radio stations whenever they are discussing your issues and try to model it up. It's all kinds of what the US and the US used to call a counter-interpro, a counterintelligence unit, just to make the public feel bad about you. And when they couldn't find anything to do about that, they then started looking for a way to let me off. But they couldn't do that without thinking that there would be a blowback against them. So that was why they went to court. And when they went to court the first time, I released it and discovered that I was not broken. They had to abduct me again. When that happened and they got more pushback, they eventually had to let go, grudgingly. But they still did not withdraw the charges. They reduced the charges from 7 counts to now 2 counts. Removed the money laundering, ridiculous money laundering charges, because it was a disgrace to them. And then they kept, and then the idea that I was insulting Buhari, because our lawyers made a great point. Femi Falana, you had to give it to him. He said the cybercrime law says that the person that is directly affected by the crime must testify. So we said to the judge that we'd like to bring Buhari to court to come and explain the internet. Considering the fact that the man claims that he has a ear infection, how did he hear it? Does he read internet? Does he have a bank account? So when they saw that Femi Falana laid out in the court, they withdrew other charges of cybercrime as well. So we are only left with treasonable felony. This bogus idea that I'm planning to overthrow the government because I called for a protest August 5 last year.
Very interesting.
Yes.
So how talking about Sahara reporters now, are you still actively involved in the running of your organization, or you've handed it over to the management to run?
Since I started running for office, I handed it over. I resigned from active control of Sahara reporters, and they are aware of that. They also investigated that and found out that it's being run by Sahara reporters. Was run even when I was in detention, and part of the reason they put me in limbo or incommunicado was to prevent me from having control over what is published on Sahara reporters. So effectively, they found out that with or without me, the organization was run. It has become a public trust. It's a citizen reporting platform. So it's run by other people. And they did a good job of running it, and they're still doing a good job of running it. But I'm a founder of Sahara reporters. So just like you have your own platform too, there's something they call founder syndrome. And thing in psychology, where you find something that is dear to you, of course, you will always tend to find out what's going on with it, how it is going on, because it's your dream. It's something that you created innovatively from your mind, and you always want it to work. Not only Sahara, but as I want every journalism platform that is doing the right job to prosper and function very well. I'm a stickler for free speech, free press. So I was, in fact, when they gave me a phone one day to speak with my family, I didn't call my family at first. I called Premium Times and spoke to them. And when they saw that Premium Times had been spoken to, because they were monitoring the phone, they ran to me and said, "You have to give us back our phone." I said, "No, I have to call my wife." And I called my wife, I called the lawyer, and then gave them back their phone. So because I want all these platforms to work because we don't even have enough press in Nigeria. There are 200 million people here, maybe only 10 major newspapers, a lot of blogs, but you go to the US, which has 320 million people, you probably have like 1 million media platforms, TV stations. Every village has its own TV station, township, newspapers. We are not there. We haven't gotten anywhere yet in terms of the saturation of media, because media is the fourth estate of the realm, right? But if we are not careful, the media can also become the fifth columnist from the rear. Yes.
But right now, the media is going through a lot right now in terms of challenges and all that.
It is. It's always been like that. It's always been like, you see, look, the media job is a thankless job, and you know what it is. Everybody wants to control what goes out in the media, particularly government. And in Nigeria, unfortunately for us, government is still competing with the private sector in terms of media. It's unfair disadvantage. One, they still have their own media platforms, which they shouldn't be allowed to have. There shouldn't be an NTA in this country anymore. And then they have organizations that are controlling the private media space. They try to control when they can't control you directly, they go and introduce bill, hate speech bill, social media bill. All of it is targeted at the media because they don't want a media that scrutinizes government. That is why we have all these problems. The media is not doing enough in terms of fighting for the media space. And all of us, you guys are guilty of this, Nigeria, for example, still has like terrible libel laws. A governor can sue you in their state with the chief judge that is appointed by him and win a libel lawsuit against you. It shouldn't be like that, right? We still have that British type of libel law in Nigeria. Even when you are right in a libel lawsuit, even when you are right, nobody pays for your legal fees, and nobody is fighting for these things. So they can harass you. There's a lot of ways they have criminalized even simple reporting. If they can get you, they can come and arrest you and detain you and claim that they are trying you for criminal libel. Criminal libel is, it's unheard of in modern day journalism. But the journalists are not doing a good job because a lot of our journalists are aspiring to become chief press secretaries, special advisors to politicians. Serious journalists don't aspire to become an appendage of the people they are reporting against. Otherwise, already you have established a conflict of interest in your reporting.
Okay. Somebody is asking a question about did opposition use you to bring in PMB as you are being accused by Reno Omokiri? I don't understand that.
People have accused me of all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But when you ask them to go and bring evidence. Yes. Can you support Buhari without attending his rally? Without getting an advert from him?
Advert from him, yeah. I can hear you now, yeah.
Yes. Without writing an article, without any meeting. Reno Omokiri, as I was told, said that he has evidence even from the NIA to show that I was holding meetings with Buhari and the rest of them. Why is it so difficult to put out the evidence? If I have evidence against Reno Omokiri, for instance, when Reno Omokiri went and stole the identity of somebody known as Wende Simlin, I met the mother. I interviewed her. I put it out. That's the evidence. And the woman said, yes, Reno Omokiri is an identity thief. When Reno Omokiri sent soldiers to the mother's house to eject somebody from their house in Warri or so, I got the information, I put it out on Sahara reporters. In fact, it led to him being fired by Jonathan because most people did not know that Reno Omokiri did not complete his tenure with Jonathan. Jonathan fired him towards the election because of a lot of criminal activities he was engaging in. Reno Omokiri claims to be an Amazon bestseller. Can you just find out how many books he's selling? What's the name of the book? So I'm not personalizing it. I'm just telling you that I am an evidence-based person. If you say so, look, there's no need engaging in emotional conversations. But all the political leaders in this country have their own supporters. Even if you look today, there are people who still support Abacha. You know, but Babangida has his supporters. Jonathan has his supporters. So once in a while, when they miss the pass, the terrible pass, they organize what I call a pity party, so that they can pity themselves. You know, the thing that Reno Mokri did not tell you is that he wouldn't have had the job he had with Jonathan, the money he made, whatever he benefited, had we not fought for Jonathan to become president when Yar'Adua was sick. So, and I'm glad that he said that I have so much power to put Buhari in power. But why are they not giving me credit for putting Jonathan in power when Yar'Adua cabal prevented him from... In fact, they were planning a coup at that time. We were exposing it every day until Jonathan was allowed to run, to become the president of Nigeria. Because we knew Yar'Adua was not coming back. Go and ask Reno Mokri if he attended a protest on behalf of Jonathan. Never. We did. I did in America. We organized a people's parliament. We did write-ups upon write-ups. I've never met Jonathan before. I didn't care who he was. In fact, when Jonathan won the election, he sent late Toronto Douglas, to me, that I should come and work for him. I said, I cannot work in government. I can't last 24 hours in the government. I'm too honest, brutally honest. After that, he sent Imani Boro is still alive, to come to New York and give us the money that they said the man sent. I said, I refuse to see Imani Boro. I said, I don't need your money. I did this out because of my conscience. And I hope you guys perform. So what I want to wrap up here is that the person who brought Buhari to power, the number one person, is Jonathan. It was his performance in office that enabled the likes of Buhari to come back to office. Let me tell you, when Buhari ran for office against Jonathan, if a goat had run against Jonathan, they would have won. Monkey could have won that election. People were tired. The corruption. Jonathan was one of the luckiest former presidents in this country. He was selling crude oil at $140 per barrel. Money was all over the place. Awash. And I heard that Reno Mokri also listed some stories that he said were true. Some of the stories are actually still actively being prosecuted. In Italy, with regards to OPL, that OPL 245, the wife was found with a lot of money. It's public information. So I don't need to, again, personalize these issues. But I can understand that some people feel bad that they've lost out. Reno Mokri himself works for Atiku, right? If you really hate people who took Jonathan out of power, why would you be working for Atiku? Atiku donated money, jets, to Buhari's campaign. And Reno Mokri is working actively for Atiku to return to power again. So you can see the hypocrisy there.
Okay. I was going to say that how do you always feel when you see the state of our situation in Nigeria, especially now with all the challenges we are faced with? How does it make you feel when you wake up each morning and you still see that we still have not been able to do much to get things changed?
It's very sad, and that's why I'm restless. The reason why I take all the risk I've taken. After we all fought, and including you, against military rule, by the end of 1999, when civilian rule was calling, what we thought was civilian rule, what I now call a morontocracy, it's a government for morons by moron and by morons. I left the country. 1999 February, I left Nigeria. And I stayed out of Nigeria for 20 years. Went to school, got married, had kids. And each time I came back since 2004, actually since 2003, it breaks my heart. And it was what led me to set up SOWERE Reporters. It was what led me to participate in politics, because I know that there's so many things that can be done without, there's a lot of things that are broken in this country that they make it sound like governance is rocket science. It's not. To fix a road that has been budgeted for is not rocket science. And for someone who is unarguably aware and informed about how things can work, how things can work, right? Of course, it disturbs me. I'm restless. It's the reason I took the risk to come and run for office. It's the reason after I ran for office, I declared that we need a revolution. And I was arrested. And I did not renounce it. Even when they sent a delegation to me in detention, led by Issa Funtua and Garba Shehu, to ask me to renounce revolution, I refused. I said, it's not possible until we find a country that belongs to all of us. And they said to me, Issa Funtua said specifically, he said, nobody has ever fought a government and won. A very arrogant old man like that. I told him, well, maybe for the first time you find somebody who can win against the government. I don't know if it's me, but I know this system is not sustainable. They left me. That was 2 weeks after I was detained. They left me. Next thing I hear from them, they had charged me for money laundering, cyber stalking, and treason, treasonable felony, because they were hoping that they can pressurize me to abandon the struggle or scare me. And when they found I wasn't scared, they went to the next level, which is to charge me with bogus offenses. And that led to, I stayed, after they met with me, I stayed another 4 months in detention until I was released, granted bail on some of the harshest conditions. The only person in the history of Nigeria who has been restricted to a city was Obafemi Awolowo when he was charged for treason in the 60s. I'm the second person in the history of Nigeria. He was restricted to Lekki Epe area. Me, I'm restricted to Abuja. It's called city arrest.
That means you spent four months, a total of 4 months.
Yeah, I spent 4 months in detention. I was arrested on August 3rd, 2019, and I was released on December 24th, 2019. So you can do the calculation.
Yeah.
Quite some time.
Yeah. Are you likely to run again in 2023?
I'm running from now. I don't wait till 2023. I keep telling people, you know, what Nigeria needs is liberation. If you can get it now, why wait till 2023? So the race has started, you know, and it's race for human rights, freedom, respect for the dignity of our people, an end to unemployment, respect for social and physical infrastructure. I mean, that's the race we are running. We are running the race of not our time, but of our lives. And it's both political and non-political. It's partisan and non-partisan races that we have to run. Because our people have been buried under the ground. We have to take them out.
Thank you very much, my brother. It's been nice having you on our program. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me as well. And have a pleasant weekend, which starts from tomorrow.
From tomorrow. Thank you. Okay.
You take care.
Let's see.